Okay, so this is Tuesday, May the 26th, 2026, and I noticed the last few times I did recordings on my laptop, um, the audio was not consistent, so my apologies in advance if this isn't consistent, and still looking to find the root cause of this issue. But anyways, I was just sitting here. I was thinking, you know what? I would love to do a recording and a video update on something that I experienced it kind of like waves that go up and down and up and down. Like it's rather consistent, but it's not all the time. So it's interspersed. And this is like right now, I'm still in a season of impoverishment, and I'm looking to like the next step is to look into getting my vehicle. I got to see if I can get my vehicle on the road, and then once I get my vehicle on the road, then I have to get it insured, and then once it's insured, then I can start looking for jobs that pay a little bit more. And so that's it's just step by step. And I think that's probably the hardest part about this is. Um, for each of you that do not have strong supports and um, this is something I think this is wise to bring out in the open, but something that others that have like very strong supports, especially like like financial supports, they can go through we're say like a crisis or crises period, and then they have people that can, oh, what do you need? Okay, you need a place. You don't have first and last here. We can help you out with that. And okay, your vehicle is on the fritz. Let's see what it costs to get it back on the road. We can help you out with that. Insurance, we can help you out with that. And all these wonderful things. And then then it kind of clears the way. So a lot of barriers that would be erected if you didn't have these strong support, especially strong financial support, those barriers would remain there, and you're going to have to learn to navigate around them or up and over them, and that can be very time consuming. What is time consuming, but it can also really wear on you and try to inspire or hint at a state of like of hopelessness, and which leads to like a state of despair. And so, to each and every one of you that has these that really strong support, oh my goodness, it's such a wonderful thing. And when you utilize a hand up as a hand up, you can go from like a bad situation or sorry, a crisis situation, and then you can kind of come out of that hole rather quickly. And then you keep moving forward, and you keep going step by step and up the staircase or rung by rung up the ladder. And it's great. It's That's a wonderful thing. However, for those of you that do not have that strong financial support, um, unfortunately, you can be compared to what other people who have had that strong financial support, like so through the quickness or the ease that they were able to rebound from their situation. And in that comparison, it's a false comparison first and foremost, but regardless, it's a comparison, and you can really feel just sunk. You can really feel like, oh goodness, like where you feel like you need to defend yourself. Um, and it sets a very heightened expectation that's actually not applicable to you. So I find that's one of the main errors that I've noted in our society is we often like to clump everyone together and say, okay, well, this person, this is how they got out of it, and then we generalize that and say, well, why aren't these people able to get out of it? But it takes not only a curious mind and a desire to delve a little deeper beneath the surface, and you also have to have that trust and the ability for somebody to reveal those things to you. But also, it takes patience. Like it takes you have to investigate a little bit. And so I think that those might be a few reasons as to why many personalities might just use the generalization as kind of like a baseline that they then, create expectations for everybody from. And so, anyway, but for you, it's really difficult to get out of financial impoverishment. It feels like an endless cycle because when you're able to save little by little by little, there's always something that's gonna come up. This breaks, that breaks, this needs to be fixed, that needs to be fixed. And so anyway, so it can be highly, highly discouraging. But what I want to talk about, what I want to share right now is how I've noticed, and I've noted that, goodness, and this is something I wouldn't normally like to talk about, something I'd normally be very rather ashamed of. Um, but I'm going to talk about it because I'm going through it, and it's highly applicable, and I think we can learn a lot from it. But especially like folks in the church, I've noted once upon a time were close to me, and now they treat me like I'm a social pariah. And I'm not sure if the video I recorded made it to YouTube, but there was a situation. It was about like 3 weeks ago now, and but it was a young man who, goodness, since I've landed in impoverishment, I've noticed I'll see him at the one time he was walking out of the church door, and I was walking past. They looked at me, and they quickly turned his head. We used to be very close friends, and I was thinking, "Oh, this is awkward." So I said, "Hey, how have you been?" He's like, "Oh, hey, good, I'm good," and didn't even like pretend like to act like he was surprised to see me. Like it was like, so it's pretty obvious. And then we talked a little bit, and I went on my way. But this is something. This is a topic for another video. When you're impoverished, I find some people really treat you terribly. Um, and that's like maybe a judgment that they've developed inside, and a lens that they look through perhaps. And but anyways, but then I see him another time, and he looked at me, and then he kind of turned his head again. Yeah, yeah. And there's another time, and this would be about the fourth time. And I was en route. I think I was actually doing a dictation for one of the novels I've been working on, and I seen him, he was at his truck. He was getting some stuff out of his truck, and I was turning the corner, I was walking down the street, and then he looked over his shoulder, he seen me, and then he just kinda, looked down a little bit, and then he quickly it was like he was, like, purposely trying to avoid, to make it seem like he didn't see me, and he turned his shoulders to me, turns back to me. And so I was like, "Okay, I guess this needs to be addressed." And I walked up, and please understand, when I walked up, there's like my knees were like jelly, and like I felt very, it was awkward. And so I just went up to him and I said, "Hey," and I said, "I gotta ask you a question." And I said, like this isn't the first, second, or third time. This is the fourth time, but you seem to be very dismissive to me, and you know, almost as if like there's an offense, like that maybe something that have I done or said something to you? He's like, "No, no, why would you say that?" And I was like, "Well, even right now, like you looked right at me and then you turned your head." And he's like, "Oh, I'm just busy." It's like, "Oh, okay." That's anyways, that's yes, okay, that's an excuse, but okay. But then when I left, like so we talked for a little bit, and it just felt very ingenuine. And then when I left, like I felt like kind of like the disconnect between us was surfaced, and it was like brought like to the surface and brought to both of our attention. And I was just thinking, but this is part of it. I've really noticed this. It's not just with impoverishment. I noticed like when I was in high school, if I was part of like the popular group, certain people would like, oh my goodness, they'd wave me down the hall and like, hey, I can't wait to talk to you, this and that. And then when I'm not part of like the popular group, the same people just kind of look at me like, "Eh." And anyway, so this is I'm kind of used to this, and but it can be very hurtful. But I find if you get to the root of it and you understand that some people, unfortunately, they're ruled by riches, like they're ruled by um, I think in the Holy Scriptures when Jesus talks about you can't serve two masters, and at the conclusion of his teaching, he says you can't serve both God and mammon. So mammon's the spirit. Involved with riches, and so that would be like like a common word back then and common understanding back then to his audience. And so, what I want to say, as I'm saying this too, I need to be very cautious. I'm not trying to put this on this man or on any other people, but what I will say, and I'll just keep it very bland and very high level, perhaps. But I've noted that when I need help, I noticed that it seems like people treat me like a societal pariah. And when I didn't need help, people were always around all the time. And that when I didn't need help, I mean, like when I was like financially fine. And so what I want to speak out is it does hurt, but There's something to be said with going through this and keeping your head held high and understanding that I'm really not my vehicle. I'm not my house. I'm not the name brand of clothing that I wear. I'm not the dollar value in my bank account. And I know it's really easy to say these things, and these can become like kind of cliched in our society where, everybody's like, yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. But it's another thing to experience it and live through it. And and so unfortunately, this is it's a harsh reality, is people that were close to you before will treat you at more of a distance. And the reality that I've learned is, well, that's always the distance that they had you at. It's just before you had something that, like maybe that they were lacking. So then they're coming closer proximity in order to retrieve what they lack. But now you're just seeing things for the way they are. So in actuality, you're actually seeing like your relationships are exactly the way they truly are, without any masks, without any scripts, and without any hidden desires. And I find there's not only a solace to this, but uh, it's taken me a long time to get over myself to the point where I'm not fine with being impoverished, because I'd love to have finances to provide for my own, like to like I'd love to have a house and a car and a family, and and also to help those that are in need. But if I don't have that, I have to humble myself and be very honest with myself that this is where I'm at. There's no use in pretending. There's no use in, you know, hiding. Like, this is literally where I'm at. And anybody who's going to judge me, that's just a judgment that is springing from a source that's found within them. I don't have to come into agreement with it. I don't have to believe it. And even if everybody dismisses me and treats me as if I'm like worth less than somebody that they'd want to spend time with, well, that's just where they're at, and I'm fine with that. Like, that's their prerogative, and they're entitled to that. And it's coming to that, like that, what's the word for it? It's like solace would be the end of it, but it's goodness. There's the word consolidation. That might be the word I'm looking for. But consolidating those thoughts and those emotions, and then understanding, this is just where they're at, and I'm gonna love them regardless. I'm gonna treat them the same way I treat them when I have finances as when I don't have finances. If they put up like a moat, and that moat gets ever increasing, well, then I'm gonna respect those boundaries. But I'm still gonna love them. I'm still gonna see them the exact same way. And if they need anything, oh my goodness, I'm so happy to be able to help as I can help. And but I think there might be a lot of false impressions, like especially because I didn't realize this when I was um, when I had like finances, because it was just never in my scope. It was never in my view. But now seeing things from this perspective and walking in this shoe, oh my goodness, it's very eye opening, and it's rather expansive. It's expanding my horizons, and it's giving me like a different perspective to see things from. And I'm definitely richer for the experience, and I'm very appreciative of this. And yeah, and I think that's what I want to conclude with. And also I want to conclude with, I'm going to make a note of this. So when somebody else is in need, or if they're going through some financial hardships, I'm going to look for ways to secretly help them. So that's one of my goals for, acquiring a little more cash is, to help those that might be in financial need. And that is very, that has an affinity with my heart, and with what I truly believe. And it's beautiful. So, anyways, that is that. And if I have any more ideas, I'll do some more videos before I leave for work. God bless you.